All right, welcome back. So the First Wednesday Film Club is Joburg's biggest independent film club, and since its inception, the club's monthly events have become a must-attend for film lovers. Now, the aim of the gathering is also to meet fellow movie fanatics and learn a little bit more about our local film industry. And so next Wednesday, the club will be screening a Thomas Gumede film called Family Rugby. It's a story of hope. And to share a little bit more about what we can expect, we are joined by filmmaker Ernest Nkosi. Ernest, good morning. Thanks for making time to be with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the First Wednesday Film Club, perhaps even the importance of hosting it in this day and age.
Well, firstly, it's the only independent film club in Johannesburg. It's over 20 years old and has been running specifically for the purposes of putting filmmakers together. And literally, as independent filmmakers, we can guarantee you one screening with an audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Local is lekker also. And so the importance of perhaps showing local productions is also part of that conversation.
No, we only show South African and African films.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, what is the reception? Because I'm looking at the culture of watching films, perhaps also just how people interact with the medium, given the other options.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how you found your niche, how you managed to get people on board.
I think it's easy. I mean, we had, for example, John Barker started the thing with Ziggy Hofbeer and Jonathan. That led to Aquino Motoso, who's an incredible filmmaker now, making stuff in America, and then me taking over. We all had our births there. I showed a film that ran for the Oscars at First Wednesday Film Club, so that's by and by.
Working with people in the industry, producers, filmmakers alike, I mean, it's also a networking opportunity and perhaps a space to appreciate what we have on offer.
Literally a place for filmmakers to meet other filmmakers and talk about films. This film that we're going to show on Wednesday is no different.
Yes, so tell us a little bit more about Family and Rugby and Thomas Gumede's offering.
I think it's Thomas Gumede's first directorial film. Both Matli, I think, is a producer. Moshati Mafatsi, also an executive producer. So you have actors who step behind the business of filmmaking, and then a renowned actor like Thomas Gumede doing his thing for the very first time. And also, rugby is a huge thing in the Eastern Cape.
Yes, no, absolutely. I wonder then in the selection process at the when you decide to screen, what goes into that? How rigorous is that process? Is there a lot of options? What's the selection criteria?
So we have a panel at Mogul where we search for films, and we sometimes we get films sent and we watch as a panel. Sometimes we hunt for films like this. This I think it just premiered on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And for us to be having it this early is quite a coup for us.
I mean, the byline, it's a story of hope. I think the world and South Africa definitely needs that.
Absolutely.
I am looking at just the importance of this because you mentioned Oscars. And I mean, we have our own Oscar film that's been nominated. The Oscars obviously taking place later today. What does that mean for the industry and just for the offering, obviously, The Last Ranger?
So I think I'm hoping good things for, obviously, as for the short film. It's also high time that South Africa make a product far beyond the rom-coms that can compete in that realm. So I hope Lost Ranger, with the message that it is, also encourages our local filmmakers to show that we can do other than the rom-com.
Yes, absolutely, because we're holistic and our stories spread far and wide. But I mean, it's obviously been stepping stones to get to this point, and now we get to show our diversity. I know that in terms of how the gatherings operate, I mean, it is about the experience and immersing yourself in the experience. So what does a typical screening then look like? What do people have to prepare for as well?
So you come through our wonderful staff and team at Atlas Studios, which is down the road.
Yes.
We'll take care of you. There's free parking. There is a bar you can get welcome drinks. Some evenings we have, and then you'll watch the movie. I'll say a few things, introduce the filmmakers. You'll watch the film, and at the end of the film, we normally have something to eat for you to send you on your way back.
Okay, so is there also discussions about?
Of course. So we like to have Q&As. Like when the filmmakers are in town, they're there, and when they're not in town, then we have it on Zoom. So,
amazing.
Yeah, and then afterwards, people mingle and party.
Okay, it's by invite only though. And you're saying you as in, I didn't get the invite yet. So, I mean, how does one access to get access to a ticket? Well, yeah, well, what does that look like?
So if you just RSVP, sometimes we take walk-ins, so don't be afraid to walk in. We will welcome you. We will try and find a seat for you. We're very welcoming. Atlas Studios is a studio for bespoke spaces.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. In terms of growing this, perhaps also just, you know, having it in other provinces, just feedback that you've had from audiences alike.
Sure.
What is that going to look like for the near future?
Sure. What we can, to have it in other provinces. I mean, Atlas Studios is Atlas Studios, and we can't obviously move.
Yeah, we can't move Atlas Studios, but there are the venues.
The concept, I'm sure, has grown. There's other people who've taken on the concerts and are hosting in their own cities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to take on that responsibility just yet?
Definitely not just yet.
So let's look at the state of the industry and perhaps the support from government, private sector, the way South Africa's been represented, the continent as well, agency. What are your hopes in terms of the strides we've taken? But what more needs to be done in the same breath, given the competition from other streaming platforms and other players?
I think what the streaming services have done, they've almost created a genre of types of film that go on the various streaming services. I'm hoping that we can get back to the culture of independent cinema and people going to watch movies at cinemas. So that's incredible. But not every story gets to make it on cinema. You know, like it's a high pressure and big money business.
No, exactly, and that's what I was saying in terms of support, even from government, investors, sponsors, private sector at large. Is enough being, you know, put into films at this point, given the growth and the representation we see?
I think we are predispositioned to say, government, give me this, government, give me this. I think as creatives, we have to find ways to be able to make films outside of relying on government, relying on whatnot. So private sector partnerships, advertising. How can we use advertising, for example, product placements in films, to create really creative ways to fund interesting stories, other than just going the traditional route to the NFVF, the DTIs, that there's a whole list of, there's a long queue over there. So how do you get around the long queue and still make something nice?
Okay. Well, Ernest, thank you for joining us this morning, and we're wishing you all the best come Wednesday. Thank you for the work as well, just in showcasing our products. Let's perhaps I'll be a walk-in and I'll see you at one of them.
We'll have a seat for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the first Wednesday of every month, cinema lovers get together to watch films from across the spectrum, and they are not screened on the local circuit. So Ernest Nkosi just joining us this morning to chat about their latest offering this coming Wednesday. Let's leave it there. We'll be right back after this.